So now this is our last session of the workshop, hydrology implementation. And before this session will be led by Richard Chen. And before he starts, I want to mention to you I distributed 2 handouts to you last time. And if you don't see it on your desk, just let me know. And there's a one-page thing. That is the handout for yesterday's introduction to the linear programming, and the rest are hands-on. That example, in case you did not finish, example yesterday after the workshop, you can follow the handout and we'll finish that. And the second handout is the handout for this afternoon. Also, this afternoon is a good opportunity for you to practice more of the RIMS GUI that I introduced to you yesterday morning. So here's Richard Chen.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to start with basic hydrology implementation. Custom 3 has a different hydrology than Custom 2, but most of the principle is pretty much the same. So I'm going to select one demand unit as an example. This one demand unit is in a Stony Creek. It's called the 06 PA. That's, as you can see from the handout, this yellow and pink color. Also, there are actually a green color. So that's a 3 demand unit in the WBA 06. We are going to focus on the project agriculture demand unit 06-PA. That's the demand unit we are going to focus on. In this demand unit, we have basically 2 diversion from the Stony Creek, and 1 return flow back to the river. And then the demand unit there also pump groundwater when there's not enough water, surface water available. So our Custom 3 hydrology is interact with the groundwater hydrology. Also, we use the C2V sim DLL and the engine to run the groundwater of Custom 3. So there's some interaction between the surface water and the groundwater. On the second page, I list the equations there. As you can see, there's so many equations. It might be overwhelming to you guys. Basically, those equations are used in the Custom 3 to describe how the flow inside the demand unit are connect each other, how those flow are connect to outside stream arc to collect the groundwater, and also tells you some of the constraints that our logic of hydraulic logic about how we use the groundwater when the surface water is not available. So in that list, on the left-hand side is the equations. In the middle is this location indicator, 1, 2A, 2B, 2C. On the right hand is the Russell code name that really kind of we impose those constraints on. So you can find the corresponding Russell code in those files. In the bottom of page 2, basically it's a schematic that kind of detail a typical schematic of the agriculture demand unit. Also show all those components we modeled in the custom 3. If you're starting from the number 1, that's basically indicate we have like multiple diversion point to a demand unit. You can have 1, 2, 3, 4. You can have more. In this schematic, there's only 2 arrows was listed. Then we have our conveyance channel that divert all the water to the on the left side of the demand unit. That's demand unit 06 PA. So that's the route of the surface water is going from 1, 2, 3, 4. That's you get into the demand unit. Then the groundwater get into the demand unit is really through the 8 from ground aquifer, then goes to 8, 3, 4. That route get into the demand unit. Then we also have a return flow internally. The return flow in that demand unit, reused water, I would say, reused water. So that path is like you have this return flow from the demand unit, you get into 5, then get back to 3, get into 4. So that's the route of the reused water. For the flow out of the demand unit, then you basically have the tailwater. Part of tailwater then can be used as a reused water. They are going to combine with the channel lateral north and overspill. And then it becomes the total return flow from this demand unit. Then you have surface water. That's surface runoff. That's from rainfall. Surface runoff. We calculate the total surface runoff from each of the demand unit, then sum it up, then redistribute back to the stream network. As you can see, number 7, we can have multiple return points back to the basically the stream network. Then we have the number 10. In those water body area, we have a deep percolation. We sum all the deep percolation from all the demand unit in the WBA. Then then put that back to the groundwater aquifer. So that's basically is for the WBA part. Besides that, we have the stream gain, stream loss of the stream network that directly interact with the groundwater aquifer. So this is the whole hydrology in the Cosmos 3 basically in the valley floor, how it modeled. So you can go read our document in surface hydrology, groundwater hydrology, and the remaining chapter actually includes those material. So that's the background you need to know when you deal with hydrology in Cosmos 3. Now I'm moving to the hands-on part. So on the page 3, basically I have 5 hands-on examples. So I'll go through it one by one. And under the list of the hands-on, I've listed some of the parameters that we are going to use or change in the training example. So I'm going to go through this a little bit. All those parameters is really the Kelvin's loss parameter and reuse factors. So the first one is the riparian ET. That's a Kelvin's law, part of the Kelvin's loss. The second one is the reuse factor. The third one, and the rest of that 4 is basically is the loss we count from the diversion, surface diversion. So those loss a lot include. I don't think this loss is not include the groundwater part. The groundwater, only the riparian loss. The groundwater only contribute to the riparian loss. So that's a difference why we have like 5 loss factor there. Yeah, we might be able to combine this. There's a mistake, I think. In the loss, I list that let's see, not a mistake. I did not list, there's 2 factors I did not list there because I'm not going to deal with it. One is the operational overspill loss factor is not listed there. Another one is the lateral flow loss factor, so it's not listed there. Then the variable I'm going to use, or it's going to show pretty much like other than the variable listed in those equations, I'm going to show some extra variable. One is from the groundwater DLL, that's latent deep percolation and change of storage. Then I'm going to also show some of the stream gain, stream loss. That's not directly in the demand unit, but it's interacted with the demand unit hydrology is going to affect those values. So that's the variable. So that's the background pretty much. Now then we can move to the hands-on example 1. So now we are going to go back to our Cosmos 3 model. Just remind, this is kind of repeat exercise. The reason we kind of repeat and repeat, because this, when you use it, you are familiar with it a little bit first time, then need more. Next time, when you use more, you know more about it. You might already forgot which icon to collect today. I mean, what you did yesterday. That's why we put a very detailed kind of icon by icon. So when you go practice yourself, that's my remind you, oh, which icon I forgot to collect, then I couldn't go through. So that's why this instruction part, actually you might not really, if you are already familiar with those icons, you might not really need to read it. But if you are not, that's your backup for you to do your exercise. So the first example is really, first we are going to use the Cosmos 3 package and just change the runtime, the simulation period to short it. Then we call it, that's the base, because when we do our hands-on, we cannot really run through the whole time, but just in a short period. Also, when you deal with hydrology, if you want to know the detail how the hydrology works, you are not generally, you need to focus on certain water type years, just focus on like 3 or 4 years. Then you can easily check the result. So you don't need to run the whole period just for your initial development or just to see some detail about it. So that's why we just shorten that to just 3 years run. So basically, so I list 3 questions. You might want to raise that question after, or let's go through the question. Basically, right now I want to know what's the riparian fraction and the reuse fraction that for the demand unit 06 PA. So what we need to do is really go into our Russell code. So let's start construct, or I call it construct. Construct based on existing example. So the first step you do is really to extract the Cosmos 3 package. I assume everybody already say extract you have a zip file here. You already extract to, as you can see here, assume you already extract to the CIS3 Air 200 2015 with 0. So that's basically the Cosmos 3 existing scenario package. What you do then in a Windows, I call it Windows File Explorer, you basically copy this. So usually I select, if you don't really know the folder or don't want to mix up with other folder, I get into user, public, then I paste this one on this folder. So you can paste it. Then what you do, you can then rename it to our, say, base. Then you go it, and once you renamed it, you also want to kind of clean this file a little bit, because we want to run a clean version. So it goes to the under commands, goes to run, goes to not run. So it goes to DSS. We just delete everything in this folder. You want to have a clean version of this. Then when you run the custom 3, you know what has been write to the DSS. So that's basically you need to do, and the Windows Explorer. I hope everyone followed me, did this. Now you can see that in the comments, DS, there's nothing there, but the folder is there. Make sure this folder is there. So we don't need to worry about this window part. Then now we can start our RIMS. You click RIMS. Once you click RIMS, you need to really go into the RIMS 2 part. You click RIMS 2. You can extend this RIMS 2 in. You can see the Project Explorer there. If there's anything there, I recommend you just go click and remove. Actually use delete everything. Right? Basically, you want to have a fresh start. So this part also, say when you click, right click anything in it, it's going to have a pop-up window. Then you delete. There's a kind of delete resource. So there's a box delete project content. Don't do that. You don't want to delete the project you already created. Don't want to delete the content. What you want is just delete the list in the Project Explorer. So then you type OK, continue. So now you pretty much have a clean Project Explorer. Can you follow me? If not, raise your hand. Now we want to basically import or create. Say we are going to create a new project from the old project file, old project content. That's you goes to new, goes to project. Then you goes to general, goes to project. Then you type lex. Now then you type say our CS3L 215V0 and score base. You type this project name there, but uncheck the default location. Then you browse this to go to the folder you already created in the first step. So we know that it's under the user and the public. So that's your folder already created. Also you have this custom 3 content in it. It has already been cleaned up. So then you say OK, finish. Now this is popped up. So you can check, OK, underneath, what is there? So actually there's many launch file. Depends on people's style. If you really don't want to say so many launch files there, you might just delete them. Really, because this is just a test. For me, I'll delete them because if we are not really use it. Okay. So then you go click on the existing, because we already might have that one there. You go run as or debug as, that's fine. Any of those should be okay. Say, I'm going to go to run as existing. Go to the run configurations. So you see now somehow originally some people like in this Russell RIMS 2 application, they have like two configuration there. Even in your Explorer window, you have only one. So that's basically some leftover in the other examples we have already did. So we don't want to use we have to make sure we are using the one that's select for this. So we select the existing. In the existing now, we want to change the name. So you can change the name to, say, what's the name in my handout? Let me see. I'm going to change the name to, okay, I'm going to use the same name as the CS3L21 2015 V0 and the base. So I don't need to change the study name. So this part you don't need to change. Actually, if you already have the default value correctly put there, what you need to change is just the ending date. So ending date, I'm going to choose to 1924. So that's a 3-year run, basically. Then you make sure, I guess, in configuration, this is Russell plus, allow SV provide time, initial condition, then you apply. Now you can see this name changed in this Russell RIMS 2 application. Name changed to vase. Also, that in Project Explorer, that launch file also changed the name. So that basically changed. You have a base run launch file. There's one thing I did not do is, I forgot to do, sorry, is to select the LP solver option. So you want to select the LP solver option. So I'm going to close this one, go back to the run and option. So make sure you select the CBC, click OK. Now then we go back to the launch file then. Before we do that, usually you need to make sure you put the things in the right place. Like on the Project Explorer, it really did not tell you where is your project. What you can do is right-click this, goes to Property. So in the Property resource, this is going to tell you the location of your base run. So this, like, you can say, okay, the location is C drive, user, public, CSL, Air 2015 V0, and about. So you know that's the location you are dealing with. So type OK, then you go back. Then you go. Now actually, because we already set up everything, we can directly run, or to be safe, you want to really have a look at the configuration before you run. So now you have your configuration. The problem now you can see when it pop up, the default one is LP test. That's like your old configuration. If you don't change time, sometimes you really forgot which configuration you are using. Then you click run, then you get some strange message, or you are not really update what you are running. So make sure that you go back this base. Now everything looks fine. This 1924, this we already changed. Now we say run. So you can see, okay, there's a pop-up, always run in background. That's what I want, and check it run in background. So next time they are not giving this platform is not going to pop that window. So it is still compiling and it's running. So you can have a rest. Wait until it finish. If everybody finish, then we continue next step. You see, that's the whole process. We kind of refresh ourselves again. There is a mistake in my handout. That's wrong. I put this wrong 1921 1923. That's okay, but it's not what I was talking about. This configuration. So the configuration name is a little bit different than the handout. You might notice it. Right now, the configuration, the launch file, is I call it the base launch. I'm going to rename that. I should use different name. So now finish. I'm going to rename this. You cannot rename right now. Oh yeah, you can rename this. What I want to rename is to run 1921. Maybe it's now we have 3 years, not 2 years. 1924. I think that's what we set it up. So I put this file there. So this is going to continue run and run. We're going to reuse this file. Then there's no mistake for us. Then we go back to our question. So our question is, what is the default value of riparian evaporative fraction or the reuse fraction for the demand unit? So that one we need to go into the folder. Basically find our in the lookup table. Then you should go find the file. There are so many files. So another way to do is to really search in. Say we can search for what we are looking for. So we are looking for is really this file we call RPF_R UFO underscore RUFW You can type table, or you can maybe have a wild pattern, because this is like the pattern. So in the default, there's just one star. Because we have the extension of table, we may also have some Russell code have the different extension but the same name. So I want that to show up. So we should put the dot star dot star. Then you type search. Now you see they gave you a problem. Then you go detail the problem. So don't worry about this detail. This is overwhelming. Don't worry, it says okay. We know the problem. What's the problem? The problem is in the base, basically in the base package, there's some unnecessary statement there. It's compiled, but it don't need it, because it's compiled, it runs, so people really don't pay attention to it. But we can correct that one. So I know what's the problem. What we do goes to the wrong. Goes to basically we start with the main file. Because there's a starter that indicates there's something wrong there. So it basically says all the model are wrong. But it is not. What we have is this statement here. Here is this value. This value is like a reserved variable. It's already defined. It's computed in the Russell, basically in the engine. So as you see, it's a red color. When it says red color, it means reserved variable. But now it's a defined variable. That should not happen. What you do, just comment out or delete it. Say, I'm going to comment out this one. Now, once you comment out, pretty much those problems disappear. What you need to is save it. Also, now you can see in the main file, once you load this main file, all the cycle is listed here. Cycle 2, all the cycle is listed in your outline. So you know pretty much how many cycles you are dealing with. And in custom, in the Russell Plus, there's some common statement there. Then you have each of the model, MC model, show up there. So this is the main file. We are going to run it. So now you go back to, actually you can check this one. All the red disappear because this file now is basically the compiler look at it. It looks fine, no problem. So as you can see, there's still for this. We already talked about yesterday about SIDI, so we did not correct that. So you have a star there. but the one we are using is corrected, so looks fine. Now, you see, still that tells you you have something wrong with star, you have something wrong with the comment. Basically, for this part, for our purpose, we don't need to worry about this part. Or if you want to correct it, that star might disappear. So then let's go back to our question is to find, let's say, the search. We are still in a search mode. Originally, that search tells we have problem. Now you go search again. So now search seems, oh, there's another problem. Let's see.
It's RPF and you put RF.
Yeah, but that's, go back, yeah, let's go back to the search. So, problem, each of the search, configuration.
You need to refresh your thing. It's asking you to refresh it.
Refresh, yeah.
Right click the project, refresh. Refresh. Maybe.
Okay. Now go search again. So you are seeing, let's see.
RPF.
RPF, not RP, okay, RPF. Yeah, when you have a spelling, incorrect spelling, couldn't find it.
Okay.
Yeah, now seems fine. So you say anything wrong, you're typing, anything in the old code is not correct. They kind of have lots of safety built in to check those stuff. Now you find this RPF, RUFO, RUFW. It's Russell. It's not the file we are looking for, but this one is related to that table. So I'm going to click that, put it in there. Also, we need to find that table. That should really go into the lookup table. So now you see there's, in the lookup table, there's two ones. Don't use the old one, use the actual one we're using. So the reason I'm using this one is really in a file. Let's see, did not appear that file. Let's go back to this file. Oh, they only allowed you have just one file there. Okay. Because
If you drag up
we
file.
that's kind of defined all those terms. Those evaporative loss, depercolation, lateral flow loss, spill loss, delivery loss. So for our demand unit, that's a 6. Go up. So this is our demand unit. So we have all those loss are defined here. This is pretty much related to the diversion loss, not including the groundwater loss in the comments. So let's go back to our table. So we need to really look for the one that we have the 6 PA. That's NA, PA, make sure it's the PA. 60 and PA. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variable, but we are looking for, right, it's really the evaporative loss, apparent evaporative loss. That's the second one. So this one is the 0.05. Then the reuse is 0. Basically it says, okay, this demand has low reuse right now. So that's basically answer our first question. Now the second question is what's the gross diversion demand unit 06 underscore PA in July 1923. So now we need to go get into the DSS. You already did this part, but let's just repeat this. You first goes to the fire fire comparison. Let's open this a little bit bigger. Make sure you have a space there. Okay. You can enter, make sure the location is correct. It's a base, convents. This is, you see, somehow in the desktop there's one. So you have to remember where is your scenario located. Definitely we are not on the desktop. What we put is really under the user. So sometimes you mix up, but make sure it's the right place. Otherwise, oh, you get some results, you compare, oh, it's not what I expected. It's because you see some wrong result. So you have to go to the correct location to load your file. This way, the same thing, you load your file. Okay. Now you collect alternative one, because right now we just deal with one scenario. You can type OK. So that's basically now reading everything. But what we are looking for is all those variable in the 06 underscore PA. So what you do is to type star 06 underscore PA underscore enter. So that's basically it's going to show the variable that our model generated that is related to this basically this demand unit we are interested. As you can see, there are so many of them. So what we are looking for? We are looking for the gross diversion. So you need to know what is gross diversion. Basically, the gross diversion is the first one we need as DG. You should have a starting letter with DG. That's your gross diversion or surface water delivery gross. So you select that one. Because our screen is too small, now you can see this is basically the simulated diversion from the basically flow into the diversion unit of 06 PA. We simulate 3 years. So starting with October, end with September. You can see the first 2 years is, say, maybe normal. The last year is really dry. So that gives you an idea of the diversion. Then you go to for question. We are talking about actually the value for the actual value. So you can go back to the DSS table, find the July 2000, not 2000, this is always 1923, July. So this is like, it's about 377 CFS. So make sure your unit is right. I guess this is CFS, this is the unit. If you want to check what is the total volume of that month, you might need to check this TIF. Yes, yeah, the TIF value. Now you can see the TFF value. It's in a range of, let's go, just 23 TFF, 23 TF. So another question is, what's the return flow? We have diversion, we have return flow. If the diversion, when diversion minus the return flow, that's actually probably, that's the net water used, the surface water used by the unit. That's why I put this question there. So you need to find the return flow arc. So this is a R_06_PA Stony Creek 009. So this means the return from the demand unit 06 WPA to the Stony Creek load 009 mile line from the basically from the tributary starting point. So you highlight this one, go underneath. You can see now the stream, basically the return flow. For the same thing, you go check, okay, what is the number for that? If you have a big screen, you don't need to shift around everything, show up. It's much easier, but because we want everybody saw it, it's you need to move a little bit around it. So the return flow is about close to 6.9755. And for the sometimes you want to show the two graphs together, there's two variables. So you have to go back to highlight another one. Back to this two to highlight both of them. Let's see. Highlight shift. You need to shift. Control, it should be control, yeah, control. Yeah. Push control and click both of them. Now you can see the difference. Basically, the value difference between those two are the total net surface use of this demand unit. So I guess everybody followed me. If you don't have any question, then we move to the next example. Okay, now let's start with second example. So the second line example, I'm going to basically show that the calibration parameter, when you change it, our basically hydrology in those demand units is going to change, especially when you calibrate your model. When you say your flow in the channel downstream of this return flow is quite different from the observation. Then you want to maybe adjust your parameter of the model. So the easiest place to adjust the parameter is really for those conveyance loss. That's why we choose. But if even that cannot calibrate your model well, you might go into the custom hydro to change the parameter in those demand units. So we are not going to deal with that part, but this is just, okay, we change the conveyance loss part or the reuse part to see we can get the right diversion or the right return flow or the right stream flow. Whatever observation is available, you can use to calibrate your model. So for today's example, we are going to change basically the evaporative loss of these two diverging arc. Diverging arc at Stony Creek 0.21 and the diverging arc at Stony Creek 0.26. We are going to change that value to 0.25, both to 0.25. Then we are going to show how we compare those results. So let's go back to the Windows, basically File Explorer again. Now goes to the folder we have created our example. So for this one, we are going to basically copy the whole package and paste in the same, copy it and paste in the same location, a same folder here. So this is fast and rename it. You repeat this, rename it, say example 2. So then you go clean up basically what's in our DSS folder, just clean it up. So always do this. Now everything else you don't need to change here. That's basically you need to do in the window File Explorer. Then go back to our RIMS GUI. You go RIMS GUI 2. So for me, I prefer really delete this one. Delete what you have it, really make it a clean Project Explorer. I'll delete it. Now you go input the one we just copy and renamed it. So go input that project. You go through all those steps you have probably practiced several times. Now you go find the folder. So don't go to the desktop. That's not the folder for this one. Goes to the user, goes to the public, goes to the example 2, type OK, then finish. Okay. Now you check if this is the folder. Yeah, that's the folder we just created. This exam 2 and public and user. Click OK. Then now you rename it. Rename back to say S3L21 or 2015 V0 example 2. So you rename it. Go down here. Go down here. Go down here. So anyway, so looks fine. Now we can go to correct change that lookup table. So you can, if you really don't know the location, you can search it. But if you know the location, go to lookup table, go find the value or the file we are going to change. So this is the file is different. This is what is called flow loss factor file. So it seems sometimes you say search is better, but this time we are going to go directly, just collect, find the flow loss factor table. So this table looks different than the previous one, but instead of use like UD, they use ID here, and for numbering. Then we have a comments under it on the left side of it. Then you can go find basically the corresponding value, variable. So you go the variable. Actually, finally it's Stony Creek 021 underscore 06 and the PS. So that's corresponding the 22 ID equal to 22. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4 column. If you forgot the name of the column, you can go back to check. So for evaporative loss here is number 4, the last one. We go back to the 21.9. So here's the value. Originally, the default value is 0.1. So we increase this little bit. Not, you might say it's a little bit, but actually it's 2.5 times of the original, 2.5. So 2% of the diversion is going to be lost as evaporative loss. For the 23, that's for the arc, Stony Creek 06 to 26. We do the same, change it to 0 to 5. Then you can do right click, save it. Then go back to the configuration part. In this case, because they already have this wrong launch file here, actually we don't need to change it. What we need to just check it. If it's the right one, we say, so this is the right one. It's changed it. It's relative parse. So we shouldn't have any problem. Then we can just say wrong. So let's move to next example.
还是错，不知道为什么。
Oh, let's move to the result actually. So first we need to go back to the DSS, then enter our alternative to file, not this one, file comparison. We need to go enter the example 2 stuff. So go to the root directory of example 2, goes to the comments, goes to DS, just click it. Then we also need to put the SV file of the example 2, go back to click it. Then click, check the alternative 2 box. Then this, click the OK to read all the data in. Now all the data reading, we still have the original 06 under past PSO. That's good. We don't need to retype it. So this part is the same as the first example. Now let's see what's the question. My question here, which variable will be direct affected by the evaporative loss factor, loss parameter changes? What I mean directly, I want to go back, look at the equations. Basically, you go back the page 2. Our evaporative loss equation is really the equation 2C. So we have a variable start with EV. So you find the EV in this EV underscore 06. So that's the evaporative loss of this whole demand unit. Somehow you can see this is still original one. So we need to update it. How do we refresh it? Let's see. Click this one. EV, refresh it. Okay, now this is, you can see this is updated. The GUI has another function you might want to know is to pop up this window. You can show this in a pop-up window. Make it bigger. Okay. So what you can see is that what's the effect on our evaporative. The first one is the blue one is the base, And the red one is our example 2. So you need to remember that order, because right now here, really for the legend, they have exactly the same legend. I mean, the name is the same because the variable is the same, but he just run on the 2 scenario, so it has same name. So for us to know which one is which is really the order of your alternative. So first one is the first alternative. The second one is the second alternative is the example. So you know the order. That's the figure. So as you can see, our alternative 2 has increased a lot. In those normal year, the diversion is pretty much like proportionally increased, say 1.5 times. I guess that's proportionally increased, close to that. You may notice that in the dry year, there's something looks strange and end up like in October, September. It's supposed to be more, but basically the evaporative loss becomes 0. Have you noticed that? That's basically because the evaporative loss is all depends on the water flows through the diversion arc, the surface water. Now we have a situation in a dry year. The stream don't have water anymore, or the reservoir don't have water to supply to this demand unit. Even it require kind of your say allocation, or your is not, there should be some allocation, but somehow there's no water. So there's no water in the channel, so you cannot divert any water through the channel, so your evaporative loss is 0. So that's basically what I know. So then you can check what happened to the diversion, that gross diversion. So you go back to check your gross diversion here. That's the DG. This is the water delivery to the. You can see the same. Basically, in a dry year, in a wet year, it just the diversion is increased a little bit because you increase the evaporative loss, but the total diversion including 2 parts, including surface water and groundwater. So the evaporative loss does not count the groundwater part. That's why you can see the proportion of the loss is relatively low when it's compared with the dry year part. And eventually, there's low diversion, so it's completely dry. If you want to check that, you may want to check the stream flow of the system. So for the stream flow, we need to go type the Stony Creek stream flow, STN, to see so now let's check from the upstream to downstream of the Stony Creek. So we know the upstream starting point is 26. Now you can see this difference. That's just the evaporative coefficient change that pretty much affect. In the first year, the stream flow was affected actually only on the, see, this is January, this is say December, and there's no effect. Then for the last year, the diversion finally end up with zero, very little diversion. So that's why the evaporative loss was small. So sometimes you see some strange things happen. It might not really because of the hydrology there, because the operation constraint, because your reservoir don't have enough water. That's going to affect your output. So in the custom, everything is linked. Not only the ones that directly linked, but the other flow is also linked to your hydrology. Let's see. So let's go look at all those value. Go back to the demand unit. Demand unit, we are looking for the 06 PA. So go back to type that search string 06 underscore PA. Another way, actually, I should also, you can search both the stream and two stream. You can type, I don't know how to call this vertical line that's just on your top of your enter key. Then you type say star STN star, then type enter. Basically, this is going to show both. So you have this string there. You also have the demand unit there. Then you can maybe plot both of them. Control. So let's see, that's the two highlighted. Okay, go up. So now you have 4 lines because I have 2 scenarios. Let's pop it up. Now you can see these two, both. Oh, I think I clicked the wrong one. What I clicked is the contract limit. That's not what I'm looking for. But you can see this is different. Actual contract is light, yeah. It's a red line and blue line. You don't see that blue line. Basically, it's overlaid together. So the contract is pretty much the same. Even, I mean, the contract limit is the same, but you get different diversion, different delivery. For the last year, you can see the contract here is the same, but the diversion because the water was run, the reservoir run out of water. Even you have a contract limit, but you cannot really get what you want because there's really no water. Let's see. So let's go back to here. Again, I don't like. We put the wrong one here. What I want is really the stream. And so, let's see. Okay, now this highlight the stream flow, the channel flow, and the diversion. Now this basically shows a channel flow and diversion. Let's pop it up to look at it. Yes, as you can see here, basically, if you look at the summer months, you have much less stream flow in the channel than the total diversion to your this gross diversion, because we have another diversion point at the downstream of it. So there's two diversion points. This is just upstream diversion. So that's why you see the gross diversion is larger than this part. Now let's just compare with the total gross diversion and the diversion loss. Unlike the pop-up stuff. Okay. Now you can see the diversion loss is pretty significant here in Stony Creek. It's almost say 40% of the total diversion. So that tells you the relative loss of the diversion when you compare with the total diversion.
How do you define diversion loss, delivery loss?
This diversion loss is odd like 4 parts. If you go back, look at the page 2 equation. Basically, this is the equation 2b. So it's a EV, evaporative loss, dP, the deep percolation loss, ARF, the lateral flow loss, and the operational spill loss. That's 4 parts. As each individual, how it was computed, so you can find out in the 2C, 2D, 2E, 2F. That's basically those 4 parts. Combine those one, that's the diversion loss. Yeah, We might put that 4 diversion loss to check how it looks like. Yes, I will. So we have a diversion loss. That's a 1. That's a total. You have a dP. Let's just only put get rid of Stony Creek part. That's too many to check. So, I don't like this to be show up. Don't like this to be show up. No, where is my window? Reset. If you mixed up the window, you can reset it. And now everything show up. And then now we have RF, OS, go upstream, up, then dP, CDE, let's see, dP, dG, dP, DRF, there's one more. RF, should be RF, lateral loss. It's right here. EV, okay. So that's a 4 individual one. Where is this? Where is the plot window? Where is my plot window? Disappear. I need to find the plot window. Reset should be. Okay, what are your plot windows here? dP, LF, OS. Let's see, there's another one. EV. Okay, now pop up. Now you can see we list all the component of the loss here. Basically, you have a deep percolation, evaporative loss, lateral loss, and operational overspill. That's the relative value of those. You can show in one graph, or you can check the value here to see how much contribution from each of them to the loss. Yeah, basically in that way you can compare the component of your hydrology in each of the demand unit. So now, any question for this example? What time is right now? 3. Do you want to have another 5 minutes rest or continue? Continue? Okay. Let's continue to our example 3. Yeah, this is going to basically go through the same procedure you are doing in example 2, but now we change the reuse factor. So this you can do, go ahead, do it, or you can see what I'm doing. It's pretty much repeated. Only difference is that parameter change. So what you do, I'll stick to my original way to do this. Basically, I'm going to copy the original, paste it in the same folder, rename it. Exam 2 is yes. Oh, exam 2 already low. You cannot do that. You can have to rename to exam 3, or like example 3. So that's 3. Example 3. We rename it. We clean it up. So that's about it. Then we go back to the GUI, go back to the rims. Then just delete this example 2. Continue. But we are going to import the renamed one. This can be really fast because you already did everything here. You find the folder in the origin location, you OK it, finish it, then you rename this one, rename in the Project Explorer. So this is going to be Air 2015, example 3. I guess I forgot to put way 0 and score. Just OK. Now underneath, I'm going to basically go change the reuse factor. So you can search. Let's see. Now we know this one. We just search for it. Going to go back to that table, the lookup table, the reuse factor table. So you already know the location for demand unit 06 PA. Now you need to find the column that change the reuse factor. This is a DU number 1, number 2, number 3. So the third column is a reuse factor corresponding to DU number 12. That's the third column. Original was 0. Now let's change to 0.1. Now you save it. And then you go back to run this, because I know, yeah, let's check it first. Yeah, this is the one we are running the same thing, so I'll run it on this window. Just click run. Now everything is running. So that's the way you set up and run the example, and example 3. I guess everybody now knows how to import the custom 3 package and rename it and change file name. I change some kind of parameters, then rewrite it. If you have not mastered this, probably should raise your hand, they can help you. We want really everybody can do this. So the run finished. Let's go back to DSS. We need to reload the scenario here. Go back DSS file, compile. So we can click DV file again. Go back, find your folder you just created. You remember we delete everything in this folder, and now we generate 3 output. We haven't really talked about the other 2 up to now, because the groundwater DLL is going to generate this CV groundwater budget and CV groundwater out. So you have 3 output and this command DSS. So if you want to look at the result of those one, you can find out there. For our question, we're starting with still with the custom 3 output, the CS3 Air 2015 DV file. So open, then put the S3 file again. That's a requirement. I really don't like that, but that's the way it's set up. Go back to the common. Even we don't check that value, we still need to have a file occupied that box. So you can now click, say, it says 3, but uncheck the other 2. Basically, they say, okay, we are going to only load the alternative 3, that's example 3. I type OK. Basically now we only load one scenario, the scenario 3. Not compare them, but just to check its value. You still have this sorting string there, so it's only going to show up the demand unit related to output there. So yeah, if you want to check what happened for that scenario only, you don't need to put 2 of them or compare. Just check the one you want to compare. See, now we want to compare with the scenario 2. You go back to the compare alternative 2, you say, okay, see our gross diversion, go back to find the gross diversion 2. It's popped up. Now you can see there's only show 2 lines, but you need to remember the order again. This blue line is the first order, you clicked it. The red one is the second one, you clicked it. So that's an example 2 and example 3. As you can see, the diversion definitely affected by our reuse factor. Because we increase reuse, the actual diversion is reduced. So we have more reservoir storage available. So for the dry year, as you can see, now we have enough water there in the channel. So basically we can a gross diversion available in October, October, September. The red one, that's basically indicates that. So you can see your reuse factor. If you increase the reuse factor, you end up decrease the diversion, you increase the basically carryover storage in your system. You end up have supply to cover the whole years from the surface. That's what you can see. Everything is really linked together. That's the hydrology. So I guess we already check all those gross diversion, depercolation. Now let's check the groundwater pumping. Now you can see the ground pumping on those normal year are very small, but in the dry year, you have a big groundwater pumping. So another, I'll let you guys maybe have 2 minutes. Just show you all those variables. Yeah, the last question for this example is reuse factor. Why does the reuse factor the minimum groundwater pumping? What is the minimum groundwater pumping? Output first, let's look at the minimum groundwater pumping. GP minimum underscore 06 underscore PA dV. That's the minimum water pumping. Basically, now you can, there's two scenarios. Because we changed basically the reuse factor, but our minimum flow pumping, our minimum groundwater pumping is also changed. Just keep in mind why. This is because if you go back, look at the equation in page 2. When you compute the minimum ground pumping, actually they use the maximum ground pumping, at least there as a starting point. That maximum is applied water plus the riparian loss minus reuse. That's really, if you don't divert any surface water, that's going to be the value you have to supply to the demand unit. So I call that as maximum groundwater pumping. Then times this minimum groundwater pumping factors. You see there, now because we changed the reuse, that minimum ground pumping is reduced. That's basically the reason. So when you change one parameter, you have to pay attention to other value you might not think of. So that's basically end of the example 3. Now we have 20 minutes. Let's go into example 4. I'm going to go into quickly. Then you can do. So let's see which one I should choose to go through. Default storage, demand unit, current storage. The exam 4 is dealing with the groundwater output. I think probably this should, because we really don't have time, I won't skip this one. This one, you really want to get into it, you should go to the C2 Sim workshop. So that's a place probably it's more appropriate to discuss the detail into it. But since the custom 3 is dealing with both surface water and groundwater, you might need to load it. So when you go home, you may want to load those files to check it. Now I'm going to skip, direct goes to example 5. If we have time, we can go back to example 4, because the exam 5 still use the DV output of custom 3. So we don't need to change or switch to the C2 Sim output to save time. This goes to example 5. Repeat the process. This can be really quick. I guess you You guys already know how to do it. I'm going to just go through this. Copy, paste, rename it. So this is example 5. Now go back to here. I'm going to back to the explore folder, delete it. Okay, yes, continue. And let's go to file, import it. Next one goes to the folder we just created, import it. This finish. Go back to rename it. C3 Air 2015 V0 example 5. Okay. Now, what we need to change in example 5 is the OS. Go back to the lookup table, goes to the fire, factor, click it. So we only going to change is the OS factor. That's in the column 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth column in column 22, the fourth column to be 2. Let's increase to be 2. Okay. I'm going to save it. And actually you can directly run here to run as configuration. Can make sure this is fine. It's wrong. See, it's example 5. It's running with the new factor saved. Okay. Let's take several minutes to run. Yeah, basically this one I'm going to show the streaming in stream loss. The output from the DIL is different from what the custom 3 routing finally used. Just to remind you, if you see these two models, the mass balance, there's some difference because we still have some, like your stream have some shortage, but the DL might think, okay, you have water in a stream. That's because we have an iteration process. We cannot really guarantee that always converge to the perfect state for those two models. Okay, it's finished. TSS. Put the new simulation there. This SV, no. We should put the DV. So this is the DV. This is the SV, not 3. Should be the 5. Yeah, notice that actually I put the wrong data there. So you go change it. It should be example 5. So this is example 5. Always check your input data if it's correct or not. So this is really too big. I want to reset it up. Now, what I want to check is not this, because the stream 1-in-1 demand unit condition might affect other stream condition. So what I'm going to show is the other stream condition, this older creek. So I'm going to type old creek. For the stream gain, stream loss, I know there's some problem there, so I'm going to show this two. One is basically what I'm highlighting here. This is a stream gain, stream loss at the stream load in C2V sim 240, and which is corresponding to the location, the customer 3 load ELD 000112. So the 42 is the C2V sim stream reach number. So that's the location. Then the DLL is basically say, okay, this is the DLL value from the C3 sim. The top one without DLL is finally used the stream gain, stream loss in our custom 3 channel routing. As you can see, this one, I need to update it, I think. Click. Let's click just number 1. This is okay. And let's click this one. Now, as you can see, I just clicked only one. It's popped up. In a normal condition, perfect condition, those two should really match perfectly. So there's no difference between them. Now I popped up this one. Now you can see this one is different because basically the stream is dry. So you don't have enough water in the stream. Even the DIL say, okay, you should lose more water in the red one. The DIL is the red one. But actually there's low water in the stream. So in the routing, it's really take like 0. For this case, just 0 stream loss. So that's, you have to pay attention in your simulation. What I showed this just in one scenario. So different scenario have different condition, different case. Depends on really different location. Let's go back, check our result of the simulation. Let's see our simulation result. Patient 4. This was B, enter. I think this is maybe okay again. Order. Yeah, actually, in both simulation, they have this difference. So it is not necessarily when you change your hydrology parameter, but it is really the iteration process that couldn't make it to be the same. So I guess that's end of my talk. You can go practice the example 4. In example 4, you need to really enter the groundwater DIL output to it. Then you can check those values. Follow the same procedure. So now you have time. Maybe do on your own. If you have, you can do it on your own on the question number 4. If you have problem, I can help you. You can try it, see. Then if you can do it, you are pretty good to match the whole lecture. I mean to graduate. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, this concludes our 2-day workshop. Here again, on behalf of the instructors and other model developers, I will thank you again for your interest in coming to this workshop. And before you leave, would you please leave your evaluation to Tarek. In addition to that, you have our email address, calcium3contact@water.ca.gov. If you have any comment, suggestions regarding our workshop or model development or any aspect of the model, please feel free to contact us. Again, thank you very much. So.